I just wanted to talk to you about healing. We all suffered from our traumas and tragedies. We have disappointments and regret. We have all kinds of sob stories to tell, and we suffer. There are 1,000 to 4,000 thoughts that run on the brain's highway. What is brain? Brain has 86 billion neurons. They fire in the brain. These are electrical circuits, and they create millions of highways. So 1,000 to 4,000 thoughts, when they come to your mind, they run amok. They take all possible paths. They collide with each other. They collide with each other. They do not obey any traffic rules, and they are like bull in a china shop. And so we begin to the mind get first. I'll say even brain gets overwhelmed. The mind starts to feel I'm not safe. I'm suffering. I need help. And the body, it goes into a state of depression. The body is in fight and flight mode. And this fight and flight mode is where the sickness begins. So what we have to understand, what is this happening? Why so many thoughts are coming? What do I do about the thought? Because anything and everything is happening to you. And you are the person who's suffering. You are the person who's suffering. We need to understand what is happening. And so, irrespective of the fact that you had learned this earlier also in our earlier lectures, but this is the key thing. What is the process of cognition? How do I know you? How do you hear my voice? And so, we'll again look at the process of cognition, come back to the same ideas, and then derive a methodology where we want to say, okay, how do we now do? So the process of cognition is that I'm looking at my hand, I'm looking at anything. When I'm looking, what happens? That the photons of light, they emerge from there, they hit my retina. The transformation transduction takes place, and this transduction gets this electromagnetic vibration converted into electrochemical signal. All the signaling starts to happen. They run through the brain's neurons. The neurons in the brain start to vibrate. The vibration of the neuron is nothing but thought. Neurons of the brain, when they are vibrating, what are they producing? They are actually producing waves. These are electromagnetic waves. And these electromagnetic waves is what we see. As soon as we see, we give an identification tag to the vibrations. In spite of the fact that we are talking of this, we will now, at some point of time, because I happen to know just about every one of you, at some point of time, we will start to talk of what does the mind want, and then this thing will be taken into a different dimensions altogether. So the mind is looking at an image. That image is the form, and you give an identification tag name. So here's a thought. Now, the thought which has come in your mind, you look at a dog, you look at a cat, you look at a bad scene or something, you look at flowers. Every time this happens, or anything and everything that you are watching, seeing, interacting with, emotions are produced. These emotions could be of anything: hate, anger, jealousy, attachment, fear, whatever. All these emotions are there, which we also experience. First, there is an object. I see the object through this electromechanical, electrochemical, electromagnetic process through my brain, and my mind respond. It sees. You will please notice, we will talk about it later. Mind and brain, they are two very, very different things. Mind is non-material, which we'll come to now, and the brain is a physical instrument. Brain is the processor of information, but the knower of information is the mind. So we say there are three things which are available to us: object, sense of perception, which not only includes our eye, but five senses of perception: eyes, ears, my tongue, and my skin. So we have five senses of perception through which we receive signal. These signals are received, and they are received through five senses of perception. There there is an object. The object, sense of perception, and then I, the seer. And like I have always mentioned, the science has always ignored the seer to its own detriment. Anyway, so where these are the three things that happen without which the cognition cannot happen. But now the problem is, how do I cognize? Science, there's no methodology. They don't know how this cognition has taken place. Who's the person who's seeing, and how the emotions were generated, how objects became emotions. And that's where the problem starts. We are talking of materialism in science, but this materialism is giving us a subjective experience. What is our problem? What is the problem of humanity? The problem of humanity is these thoughts, emotions, and feelings. They are the cause of creating suffering, sorrow, joy, and bliss. Everything. The suffering and sorrow is what brings us to every single object, and we want to know why. Our question is why? Why suffering? Yesterday, the question that was asked is why there is so much of disparity. Why somebody is very rich and he's well off, and somebody who's very poor. And when I was talking that there are millions of people who go hungry every night. So these disparities, they come because of the mind. And so we'll look at 5 afflictions of the mind in a later lecture, where we will start to discuss these things in much, much greater detail. But currently, let's start to look at it. How did I know? What was this internal process? Since science is not giving the answer, the spirituality is giving that answer. That is, the life has been divided into 2 parts. The first part is the physical part. The second part is if we are talking from scientific angle, the second part is the part which we call as quantum level. The quantum level is atoms and below, and the physical part is supposed to be outside world. But in spiritual thing, we say, just like I have said this, just like I have a telephone here, this telephone is electronics in the sense of a beautiful circuitry. This is a very expensive telephone and everything. It's a perfect telephone. But how does it operate? It operates through signals. All the things which are given on there are various icons on my phone, everybody's phone. And what are these icons? These icons are the downloaded software. What is we want to say? There is hardware to support the software. Without the software, this telephone is nothing but piece of electronics and metal. Can you have WhatsApp or Instagram or let's say a banking thing unless that software has been downloaded? Can you talk on this telephone until such times the software is downloaded? Exactly in the same way, our human body has been created by that so-called God or whatever you want to call, which is the most sophisticated instrument of measurement. It is also run by a software, and that software we call as mind, intellect, ego, and subconscious mind, which in Sanskrit we call as chitta. So I again and again use the word chitta. Chitta is the field of consciousness in which 3 things operate: man, buddhi, ahankar. It means intellect, ego, and mind. Yeah. So next slide, please. Yeah. What is mind? Mind is the screen on which projections are made. When I say that I saw images, vibration, it means vibration background on which the projections are made through 5 senses of perception. What is it? What is it on the mind? That faculty is known as buddhi or intellect. The intellect is the power of dissection, deciding, disseminating the information, and it is the power of consciousness. The power of consciousness which makes you aware. I am aware. They both create a identification identification tags along with the image. That is presented to I, the ego, which is shown here in the diagram. Everything is processed by the physiological parameters or physiological body, which means the brain, the skin, the senses of perception, and all the apparatus that this body is. It is presented to me. Whatever I see, I also experience in the field of consciousness. That field of consciousness is known as my subconscious mind, loosely speaking, but it is known as chitta, total value. Chitta is what contains everything, but subconscious mind is whatever is contained, it goes into that subconscious mind. In other words, in the subconscious mind, everything is assimilated. It is our data bank. It is where we store everything. Now, this is where the problem starts. All the data that it say, what is the data? I learned things. Whatever the learning is there, I have assimilated it in the subconscious mind. And I had taken this example earlier, which I take it again. We are driving. First we have to learn driving. When we start to learn driving, what we find that consciously I learned how to use the brake pedal, how to use the gas pedal, how to use the clutch, how do I move the steering, how do I navigate through the traffic. Everything I have learned. This learning may take 15 days, 20 days, 1 month, 2 months. I don't know any amount of time it can take. But once it has taken, now you do not run the car, you do not drive the car consciously. The subconscious mind takes over. Now you're navigating, you're moving through the traffic, you know when to brake, when to press the accelerator, when to turn. So subconscious mind has taken it over. This subconscious mind is now driving you without you knowing. But when you come to a red light and you find there's a crossing, the ability to stop is contained in the conscious mind. In the conscious mind, you say stop. You have overridden the subconscious mind. Now you have to turn left, right, or straight. Is entirely dependent on the conscious mind. Subconscious mind has been overpowered at that point. Now I've understood this. This thing should be very, very clearly understood. I have learned hundreds of things. I learned to walk. I learned to talk. I eat. How do I eat? How do I laugh? How do I interact with people? I have learned these things. I'm a Hindu. I'm a Muslim. I'm a Christian. All these physiological learning, psychological learning, the spiritual learnings, everything has been learned and put into that box. That is our subconscious mind. The biggest problem, we let the subconscious mind now drive our life. Our life is being driven by that subconscious mind. So here it is. Very simple example. I have a house where my wife and son and daughter are crazy about dogs.
You're breaking up, Raviji. We can't hear you.
The fine. I don't like dogs. Life is my life. Please don't bother me. So what the example that I'm saying, yeah, hello, something happened. What? You again? Okay, yeah. So I was saying. Okay. So I was saying that I, as a person, I have no problem with the dogs, but I want to be left alone. I won't have the same feelings. What I'm trying to say, I want, when my children, when my wife looks at or sees any dog in distress, she will help. She will make sure that she helps. The feeling of compassion rises in her. What happens to me? I have no such feelings. Chiku, can you please shut the door? So I have no feeling of compassion, but my wife has feeling of compassion. My son, daughter, they have feelings of compassion. Now see, reaction. Compassion is what they have learned. What I have learned? I have learned dispassion. As far as dog is concerned, I will not give a shit about it. I'll not look at it again. I'll say, I'm wherever I'm going, whatever I'm doing, I'll keep doing. But they will. So we have 4 dogs at home, 2 dogs on our gate, 4 or 5 dogs on the street, and some other dogs which are there somewhere. So we cook food for them, and then everything goes. What I'm trying to say, exactly in the same way, there are thousands of emotions, contradictory and conciliatory. Whatever we store in our mind, we become that. All these emotions, thought, feelings, they are also projected on our mind. Subconscious mind rule us. We are not using the power of conscious thinking. And because we are not using the power of conscious thinking, therefore, this subconscious mind, which works 96 to 98% of our life, is the king. You have the power of choice. But the power of choice has been overridden by your subconscious mind. You become slave. You become slave. And because you have become slave, now whatever is being projected, the subconscious has always mind racing on the electrical highways of my brain. What is it doing? When these unwanted, repetitive, what does my mind feel? My mind goes into a state of I'm in danger. One second. Hello. One second. One second. Okay. Hello.
Raviji, you're breaking up and we don't hear you.
Okay, so this is what he was phoning me up to say, that there is a network problem. So where did I where was I, where I was breaking up? Any you can tell me? Because है कौन सा वाला कहाँ से explanation? Okay, I'll speak again. Hello.
About highway and driving.
That we're driving on the highway and we come to a red stop. That's where I have to start from. Okay, my God, then we have lost a lot of things. Yeah. So when we drive on a highway or we come to a crossing, that is the point when we use the option choice of braking. When we are braking and we are standing now on the parked on the on this crossing, then whether to turn left or right or go straight is now my choice. This choice means that I can go straight, I can go left, I can go right. This is the point when we override the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind then in that case takes a back seat. Otherwise, till then, the subconscious mind was deciding and driving you always. That's the beginning. Now, this is a very, very important point that we must understand. The subconscious mind, in the same way, has stored anything and everything that you learned: how to walk, how to talk, what is your religion. So, on the physiological level, on the psychological level, and on the spiritual level, you have learned huge number of things. All the things that you have learned have been stored in the subconscious mind. The way we drive a car without bothering, because the subconscious mind is driving you, and you use only that option whether to turn left, right, or straight through the conscious mind. Therefore, subconscious mind becomes the king. We think we are doing everything. This is on autopilot. We say autonomous working system, and then it is working. But at the same time, now what the problem is? The problem is that we have thoughts, emotions, and feelings. All these thoughts, emotions, and feelings are also stored, just like you're learning. Just like the example of dog thing that I have taken, that you heard. Yeah. Okay. Right. Yeah. So all these thoughts and emotions and feelings you have stored. So you have hate, you have angers, you have jealousies, you have regret, you have fears, you have stories, sob stories, you have your traumas and tragedies. Dear friends, we have stored them without you knowing it. Because they are stored there, therefore the subconscious mind becomes the king. It's constantly working, constantly working. So when I say that there are 1,000 to 4,000 thoughts, these 1,000 to 4,000 thoughts are working on 86 billion neurons in your brain, which are constantly firing, And this firing is nothing but thoughts running amok, which I was saying. The thoughts are constantly running amok from here to there. They are crashing with each other. They are not obeying the laws. They are not doing anything but creating chaos. And when that happens, the brain is overloaded. And when the brain is overloaded, the brain brain, the mind feels I am in danger. I am not safe. The mind now sends the signal. I'm not safe. When you have said I am not safe, the brain then in turn starts to send different kind of signal. Can you give me adrenal glands? Yeah. Okay. So the brain, it sends a signal. It sends a signal to the adrenal gland. The adrenal glands in turn create a molecule which is known as cortisol. The cortisol start to flow in your system. And when the cortisol has to start to flow in your system, what does it do to your body? Your breathing becomes high, your heartbeat becomes high, your blood pressure goes up, your digestion system is impaired, your immune system is impaired. In a word, in the central nervous system, what was necessary is stopped. The blood starts to flow to your hands and feet because it has given a signal. The signal says my body is in danger. My body is in danger. Then the body goes into fight and flight mode. Either I have to fight this danger or run away from the danger. This is known as primitive instinct. The primitive instinct comes from the cerebellum at the back of your brain, which is the oblongata, medulla oblongata. In this now, the processing is taking place. Danger, danger, danger. And therefore, the body is now responding. What is the most surprising thing? Please pay attention here. If your attention has just got diverted, you are sitting, you are thinking, you are in office, maybe you are sitting on an easy chair, but the signals are being processed. The body has started to overwork and it is now in this fight and flight mode, shutting down the central nervous system and your parasympathetic nervous system, which is the restoring session, is also overpowered. There is no threat. There is no threat. But you are experiencing threat again. Again, we they have this experience always, but we do not know. What we do not know, the cerebellum is an instrument. It's a processing instrument. This processing instrument is working without your knowledge now. And why is it working? There's no threat. No, 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 no. The human brain is such where perception plays a very, very important role. The thought creates perception. All the thoughts which are coming in your mind, which are stored in your mind, you interact. You interact with them. And when you are interacting with these thoughts, then you are connected. When you are connected and you are feeling danger, then this cerebellum, it doesn't care whether it is truth or false. It only knows signals. It only knows signals, and because the signals are coming, it will operate. These are imaginary signals. There's no threat. There is absolutely no threat except a thought in your mind. A thought in your mind. And it changes your body chemistry. When you are in fight and flight mode, that is the beginning of depression, suffering, sorrow, sickness. Everything starts to happen. Am I there? Am I there? Please raise your hand. Yeah? Okay. Because suddenly, there is a change in this thing. So I thought maybe I'm gone. So we have understood the problem. We have understood the problem very well. This is there in our body system. And actually, I want to know the time. Yeah. Okay, so this is there in our system. If this is in my system, then we have already talked about the software. The software is also there in my system. The option to fight or not fight, the rest and digest system is also there in our body. It has to counter the fight and flight mode. What do we do? What do we do? And those things are also available in our mind, right? So the body has been divided into the central nervous system is divided into two parts. One is sympathetic nervous system, which is shown on the left. When the sympathetic nervous system receives a signal, signals means fear, hate, anger, jealousy, love, joy, kindness, compassion, all these signals, they create changes in the nervous system. So central nervous system, it makes changes, but parasympathetic nervous system, which is known as rest and digest, when the signals are gone, very, very important, when the signals are gone, start to rebalance the nervous system. Parasympathetic nervous system does exactly that. Again, parasympathetic nervous system, sympathetic nervous system are totally dependent on perception. They are dependent on perception, and perception is what will change your body, the nervous system, thereby your mind, thereby your happiness. How do you look at? That's the important thing. And this is what we are going to be doing here. There are methodologies by which we are doing it, but those methodologies, I want to say, I'm not a counselor. I'm also not a head shrink. I'm not a medical doctor, but I know spiritual technique, which means we rejuvenate or we reactivate the sympathetic parasympathetic nervous system in a way that it starts to counter the sympathetic nervous system and bring the body back in balance. There's a whole course which is available, and we use mostly the spiritual practices, in spite of the fact that I'm saying we use the
Sir, आपकी father.
spiritual practices. These
Sir, your voice is breaking.
spiritual sign, big spiritual audible. Oh my God.
No,
I
You're
think I'm back
breaking
here.
up.
From where? What? All right. Okay. So we have the course details available with us. We do these things, and it's available to just about anyone and everyone. But this is generally the first lecture. It's just an introductory lecture in which we have tried to explain what the problem is. Do we understand what the problem is? The problem is us, nobody else. There's no anger, there's no hate, there's no jealousy, there are no traumas or tragedies. Everything depends upon you. You have taken upon yourself to collect this garbage, and this garbage is now becoming stale. It is emitting pungent smell, and you don't know what to do. So, whatever my age might be, yeah, Kashish, 18 years old, she's collected some garbage. You, 30 years old, collected some garbage. Somebody 60, 70, 75, 77 like me, we collected garbage. You have to burn this garbage. How do you do that? So I as a hobby, also make compost. So every waste material like the vegetables in our house are collected into a bin, and we let it. Hello, darwaza band. So we collect all this garbage in a bin where it starts to become stale and staler, and then we introduce something that is the wriggly worm. The wriggly worms eat away that, leave behind their refuse, which is known as compost. So we call it vermicompost. It gets converted. So don't be bothered. Oh my God, I've got so much garbage. Any amount of garbage can be cleaned. I'll just tell you a small story, and that is that there are two things, darkness and light. So darkness went to the God. So I don't know what is the problem with light. Anywhere I go, it shows me a way. Please talk to the light. So the God called the light Surya, the sun god. Hey, what's your problem with darkness? So the light said, Surya said, darkness? What is it? I have never met darkness. There's no darkness anywhere. So the moral of the story is actually there is no darkness. You are refusing to see the light. Wherever the light is not there, the darkness comes. Your attention is totally captured by this recalcitrant mind. It has won over your own self. The lectures that we are doing on who am I is what is happening. And this is where we can win the battle because we know the technique. How can we bring the light? So in our course, we are not interested in traumas and tragedies. We are not interested in what's bothering you, not bothering you, because we talk in terms of bringing the light and removing the darkness. That's the best thing. That you really don't have to go through these sitting sessions. Oh, this happened, that happened, this happened, that. Forget it. Forget it. There are techniques which are based in the spiritual knowledge, and when you start to do them, this starts to wean away, starts to go away. Whatever we had thought that we will do in this lecture, we have still not been able to, but I think 45 minutes is a long time, and attention span starts to wean away, and therefore I'll stop here, and I'm open to any questions that you have, and welcome.
We talked about parasympathetic, the nervous systems.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And in that case, when you indulge in eating and then you have something sweet, right? You enjoy that sweetness, but after that, there's a lot of reaction in the body because the mouth is sending message that you need enzymes and you need insulin. Now, all this is complicated because then it becomes not in our hands to deal with it. So there are complications too, aren't there, with two systems together? And then we don't understand it, and the body does things. And at that time, we don't know what to do.
I understand. See, this is a different question altogether.
Yeah.
You are the sweet, for example, the sweet is what you want because you like it. You were there in the last night's lecture. No. Yes?
No, I can't always be there because I'm not available. I have other duties.
All right. So I'll tell you what exactly happens. There are two parts to your liking. And the first part is I like it. I want to eat sugar. Sugar, let's say I'll use word pastry, cake, pastry, rasgulla. I like it. So I eat it. And when I eat this rasgulla, I feel very happy. This is what we say. Ah, great happiness. What is happening in the body you don't even know. And what
Yeah.
what you don't know is that at the back of your mind, probably the intellect has said, hey, wait a minute, wait, just don't be in a hurry to eat the rasgulla because it is going to harm you. You say, hey, now this is the conscious mind and subconscious mind. Subconscious mind has stored the idea. I love rasgulla. So you eat a rasgulla. But when you are eating rasgulla again, the conscious mind says, hey, wait. I have dissected it. Through my power of consciousness, I can see today, tomorrow, and day after tomorrow. So it will harm you, but it doesn't listen because a molecule known as dopamine is produced. This dopamine molecule is a kick in your wrong places. I want to use that word, but I will refrain from. It is a kick, and this kick is a quick thing. That means the dopamine levels suddenly go up. The dopamine levels are like tickling of your stomach. When you tickle, you begin to laugh, and when you laugh, you enjoy it. But when you do more tickling, then suddenly you realize that now it is becoming painful. Suddenly it's becoming painful. So dopamine has this property. I like it. I want more, right? First, second, I like it. So I'm being motivated. I will work for it. I want that. Dopamine has many other factors which start to happen because dopamine tickles the brain's neuron. These neurons, when they get more tickled, they don't like it. They said, we will die. If it is tickled more, they will die. So they have a fail-safe mechanism. This fail-safe mechanism shuts down the ends of the molecule, and therefore there are less neurons available to get the same amount of pleasure. Then you indulge into eating more. Then you have eating disorders. Then this is what the body is storing. Your chitta, where you have stored the data, you are storing. You don't even know that you are harming your body. So those are very, very complicated things. We don't want to. I'm not capable enough to give you the entire medical data because if there are some doctors that will pounce upon me and then I'll be slobbered. So what I want is that we must understand basically this is what is happening. Then spiritually, what we do now? Spiritually, in the Bhagavad Gita, it's very clearly written that balance is the greatest law. Everything has to be balanced. The sympathetic nervous system, parasympathetic nervous system, two are made. Why? Balancing. Yeah. They balance each other. Any imbalance which is happening is balanced by these two. Balance is what is needed. But in our life, we have misunderstood. We know wrong things about our life, and therefore the problem. Yeah. Anything more? Lata, do you have any question? Yeah. Sejal, any question? anything from your side? Yeah.
No, thank you. It's very interesting what you talked about.
Thank you very much. Thank. Okay, then you guys also enjoy your Sunday morning, and I do hope we meet again on Thursday. I think Thursday is the time when we are probably repeating this lecture for UK and South Africa.